Alright, testing out our new camera mounting and microphone setup. This is Trucker Mike. Yes, testing out our new camera mount and microphone setting. This is Truck Driver Mike coming back at you from inside the truck. Currently I'm parked at a customer's location, backed into the dock, waiting to get loaded. Been here for an hour already. No activity in loading the trailer yet, but I get to sit here and wait until they do their job before I can do mine. Okay, just testing the new microphone and camera setup. Alright, carry on. Truck Driver Mike signing off. See ya. There's Truck Driver Mike coming back at you from inside the truck. Got into a conversation with some other drivers, some email questions and such, all based on what I refer to as our rate of pay. Apparently, it would seem that I'm an idiot. And I base that statement on the fact that when I explain something and use numbers to back up my claim, all the other drivers that I've talked to just completely dismiss it as, well, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Or there's nothing we can do about it. Or it's really not like that. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. In truck driving, just as such that I'm doing right now, the potential for me to make a mistake and get assessed a fine is very real. It happens to truck drivers pretty much on a daily basis. Somewhere, somebody in the United States is getting a ticket or a fine for having made a mistake while during the performance of their job. An example would be getting a speeding ticket or getting a fine for having the trailer overloaded, overweight, or the axle weights aren't correct. Or the hours of service, there's a mistake or an error with your logbook in the hours of service. There's all kinds of ways that we can get assessed fines, and we actually have to pay money to compensate for the mistake we made. Now I get it, everybody makes a mistake, everybody understands that. And I hear all the time, well, just don't make a mistake and you'll be fine. I get that. It is a mistake. It's something we're not supposed to do. And in most cases, it's fairly clear whether we're supposed to, whether we're allowed to get away. Like speeding. They give us a number. Don't go faster than 70 miles an hour, for example. And there's a gauge on the dashboard that tells us how fast we're going, so we can monitor that actively and in real time. So there should be no reason to get a speeding ticket. That being said, my claim is that when mistakes are made, not if, but when mistakes are made, all of a sudden now truck drivers have to pay money out of our pockets as a penalty for making those mistakes. I have never run across a welder or an electrician or a plumber where if they make a mistake during the performance of their work, that they have to pay money as the penalty to that mistake. If an electrician wires up the wrong wires, or a plumber hooks together the wrong pipes, or if he breaks a pipe when he's not supposed to, or a welder doesn't do a good enough job and the weld breaks later, they don't go back and say, okay, you have to pay $200 or $300 for making that lousy weld, or you have to pay a couple of $100 for wiring the wrong wires together. That just doesn't seem to happen. I've not run across any instance of that ever happening. There are occupations where there is a monetary penalty for making mistakes. The two other professions, other than truck driving, that I know of, is in the medical industry, typically doctors, under a form of malpractice. If they make a mistake during their practice of doctoring, they can get sued and have to pay money, and in some cases extremely high amounts of money, which incidentally are typically covered by their insurance that they carry. So the doctor pays for the insurance, and that's all the money they pay. The insurance company covers the rest. The other instance of monetary penalties would be in professional sports. A football player, for example, if he knocks somebody down or smashes into another player after the play has been called dead, the play is ended, and he plows into another player, he's assessed a penalty. And there's a fine that goes with that penalty. They're not allowed to do that, so they have to pay a monetary penalty. Okay, so those are the two only other instances I'm aware of where monetary penalties are assessed. So that's 3 altogether: CDL truck drivers, doctors, and professional athletes. Okay, nobody else that I've ever run across has to pay a monetary penalty for making a mistake on their job. The difference, the huge difference between truck drivers and the other two, the professional athletes and the doctors, is the amount of the penalty is typically relatively low in proportion to their income. If a football player makes illegal contact after the play is whistled dead, and he gets assessed a $5,000 fine for that penalty, you might think, well, $5,000, that's a lot of money. And yes, it is. But he makes, I don't know, at the low end, $30,000 or $40,000 for that game, several $100,000 a season. In some cases, players are making into the millions. So if he's assessed a $5,000 penalty, it's a low proportion to his income that monetary penalty equates to. In truck driving, and I'll give you an example. This happened just last month. Fellow driver got assessed 3 violations while driving: speeding, following too close, and having a commercial in a lane he's not supposed to be in. Okay, so the penalties has come out to $380. And you say, well, $380, that's not a lot. At my rate of pay, $380 is 2 days worth of work. It takes me 2 days to earn that money. So if I had been assessed those penalties, it would be like working 2 days for free. I have to go to work and work 2 days for free to make up that penalty, that monetary penalty. If a doctor gets sued for some mistake, the lawsuit might come out to $500,000 or several $100,000, which his insurance policy pays, and he pays maybe a couple $100,000 a year in insurance premiums, but he makes $500,000 or $600,000 or $700,000 a year. So the ratio of penalty to income is still lower. For a truck driver, the ratio, the proportion of fines and penalties to income is high. The fines and penalties can come to way more than I make. I know that there's a $10,000 fine or penalty in trucking, and off the top of my head, I don't know what that's for. I don't remember. I'll have to go look it up, and I'll do another video on that one. But $10,000, if I make $50,000 a year, that's 1/5 of my entire income for one mistake. 1/5 of my entire annual income on one mistake. The risk and liability that truck drivers are assessed is not compensated appropriately with income, whereas doctors are, professional athletes are properly compensated. They can make enough money, still make these mistakes, which is bound to happen, and still come out with leftover income, way above the poverty level, for example. Truck drivers' income, if I were to work just a standard 40,000, if I were to work just a standard 40-hour week every week for a year, so in other words, my roughly 2,000 hours a year, as a truck driver, I would only make about $25,000 or $30,000. If my income was limited to working only a standard 40-hour week, that's not a lot of money. And believe it or not, that's just above poverty level. In this country, $25,000 is just above poverty level for a family of 4. So if a truck driver is married and has 2 kids, that's a family of 4, and he were to work just a 40-hour week, he would be barely listed as just barely over poverty level income. But because in truck driving, it's difficult to limit the time of service, the work hours. It's difficult to limit the work hours to 8 hours a day, for example, 5 days a week. Most trucking companies, all of the trucking companies that I've ever been associated with, have always wanted me to work anywhere from 55 to 65 hours a week. In some cases, that's more than half again. 60 hours would be 1.5 times our normal work week. 1.5. So if I were to take my 25,000 and I would make trucking, because there's trucking companies out there that will advertise, oh, you can make $50,000 a year. Yes, if you work. And the number I once saw was if you average about 62 hours a week, you can make about $50,000 a year. 62 hours a week, that's 1.5 times the number of work hours that the average worker puts in. 40 hours being average, 62 being just over that. Just over 1.5 times. That's like working 1.5 jobs to make $50,000. And then to have a fine come along and say that $380, now I've got to work 2 days for free. The proportion for income is not good. And that's really the premise of the whole issue behind driver pay being low. If you take the amount of time a driver has to put in a day compared to their rate of pay, for example, I get paid by the mile, and my average day comes out to about 10 hours, and I do about 400 miles a day, just a little over. Right? Let's see, where am I going with this? So in that, I'll make about $200. It takes me 10 hours, I have to drive a little over 400 miles, and I make about 200 bucks. So at the end of the, takes me, so that comes out to, I average about $20 an hour that way. But if something were to happen, let's say there's an accident, or there's bad weather, or just rush hour traffic, for example, and it takes me longer, my rate of pay per hour, as you would translate it, goes down. I have to spend more time to do the same amount of work, which is where that 62 hours comes in order to make a decent wage, a decent livable wage. And it's just barely above poverty, that livable wage. That really is the whole issue. Carpenters don't go to work and have to worry about, if they cut the wrong board or they cut it the wrong size, the boss comes over and says, okay, you have to pay a $50 fine for having cut that board wrong. They don't have that. It's just not part of their job. Secretaries go to work, and if they misspell a bunch of words while they're typing a letter, they don't have to pay a fine for making that mistake. I get it. The boss will be irritated. They're not happy the mistakes are made. And if the mistake is severe enough, the person could lose their job. If the secretary misspells all the words, puts in words that don't belong there, or cuss words or something, and mails that off to a customer or a client, that secretary could lose his or her job. I get it. If you make any kind of severe mistake in a job, you're going to lose your job. If I smash into something with a truck, I'm going to lose my job. But I also get assessed a fine. So the standard penalization for making mistakes on a job is common in all jobs. The difference for truck drivers is that we also have monetary penalties on top of that. Yes, we get write-ups, we get notices put in our personnel file of things that we've done wrong. Every company does that. In truck driving, we get assessed monetary penalties as well. I don't know if any forklift driver or shipping or receiving clerk or any of that, none of those people are assessed monetary penalties if they make a mistake. They could load all the wrong freight on the wrong trailer, the truck driver takes off with it, they find out later, the boss gets mad at the forklift driver for loading the wrong stuff, he may lose his job, but they don't fine him. They don't charge him a monetary penalty. In real simple terms, that's a liability that truck drivers face that very few other people face. And every time I bring that up with other truck drivers, they blow it off. They blow it off like, "Oh, that doesn't really happen," or "Well, that's just the way it is. There's nothing we can do about it," or that's standard pay. That's standard operation for a truck driver. Put up with it or don't be a truck driver. Now, that last statement I actually kind of agree with. Put up with it or don't be a truck driver. And that is actually the premise of this entire video, of my entire blog, of my complaints with the entire trucking industry. We have to put up with that or don't be a truck driver. I agree with that. Don't be a truck driver. That's the entire message. Don't be a truck driver. Oh, wait. There seems to be some sort of huge shortage of truck drivers in our country. We hear about it in the news every now and again. Oh, there's a shortage of truck drivers. We got to get more people to be truck drivers. Well, I'm here to tell you, There is a very good reason for that shortage. The two biggest reasons, the two biggest single factors for shortage of truck drivers, number one is pay. The compensation package for truck drivers is not worth the work and liabilities that we have to go through. So people don't want to be truck drivers. And I'm here to reinforce that. The other part of that is this issue that we call away from home. To be a truck driver, you got to be away from home. You're in the truck. You get in the truck, you can drive all over the country. You won't get home for sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks at a time. Now, for some people, that's not an issue at all. When I was youngster, when I was first starting out, I enjoyed that. I got in a truck, I drove all over the country. That was fine. I didn't have a problem with that. No problem whatsoever. I got out and got to see some of the country. There are going to be those truck drivers that's perfectly acceptable. That's why it's not number one. But there are those truck drivers that want to be a truck driver that like driving a truck or like operating the equipment. You know, like me, I like driving the truck. I think it's a cool, fun job. But the career is horrible for the reasons I've already listed. So this idea about being away from home, if a guy gets married, let's say he's 25 to 30 years old, gets married, got a couple of children, and he's away from home out driving his truck all the time. He's not home to watch his children grow up. He doesn't have control of his schedule. He can't go to all the school concerts or the school plays or to visit, their son or daughter's birthday party, or go to, their son or daughter's playing in a baseball game or bowling tournament. None of that. Truck driver just misses out because they're not home. It's very hard to schedule that kind of stuff. So that's the second largest reason that there's a shortage of truck drivers. They're away from home and they're not making good money. Pay them really good money and they won't mind being away from home. I'm here to tell you, if you were to put it out there, if companies were to start paying $100 an hour for you to be a truck driver, there would be no shortage. There would be no shortage of drivers. People would do it. Good people. Because the compensation would be there to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, it's not worthwhile. I don't make anywhere near $100 an hour. On a good day, I can make about maybe not quite $21 an hour. On a good day, when everything goes well. On days when things don't go well or there's a problem, if the truck breaks down and I'm stuck on the side of the highway, I don't get paid for that time. I sit there, away from home, not being productive, sitting on the side of the road with a broken truck. I don't get paid. It's a waste of my time. But I can't leave. I can't go anywhere. It's against the DOT regulations. I could get a monetary penalty for leaving the truck. If it breaks down and it's on the side of the road and I leave, I get assessed a monetary penalty. And chances are I would lose my job for doing that. Then I got to pay a penalty. And I'm not getting paid for that time anyway. Why would I ever want to be a truck driver if I'm faced with those circumstances? Well, and I do get asked that. Well, why the hell are you a truck driver? 20 and 30 years ago, it wasn't quite that bad when I first got into it. Over the years, with the social pressure and the lobbyists lobbying the government, well, these big trucks are too big, they're dangerous, they're killing people on the highways. So they put in higher and more stricter regulations. And penalties and fines are bigger, greater now for commercial vehicles. the responsibility is tremendous and the pay is not there to compensate for that responsibility. So we have a shortage. The only true solution to that, as I see it right now, totally autonomous trucks. No driver. Take the driver right out of it, make the trucks autonomous, punch in the coordinates where they go, send it on its way, let it make the delivery. People at each end can maybe move the trucks around, put the trucks to the dock, get it unloaded, reload it with more freight, punch the thing into their computer where they go next and send the truck on its way. That's the only real solution I see. Otherwise, it's just a Pat's job. Slapping Band-Aids. Well, let's make some regulations. Let's put these, driver assist devices on to try and make the truck safer. They're not making the truck safer, by the way, but that's in other videos. And so the thing that really baffles me is how many drivers think that the conditions that they work on, that I work on, the same conditions, right, that I seem to find problems with, other drivers don't find problems with it. So I must be the bad apple. I must be the idiot. There must be a problem with the way I look at the whole scenario. If I'm broke down on the side of the road and I'm not getting paid for that time, I should be perfectly acceptable with that. That should be absolutely fine with me. Spend my time doing something that the company requires me to do, but not get paid for it. Right? That should be fine. If I'm out driving around and I'm in traffic and there's cars out here doing stupid stuff, by the way, that's extremely common as well. So I try to get around them. I'll speed up a little, or I'll pull out into a lane I shouldn't be in to try and get around somebody and get away from somebody who's really being stupid, and I get caught doing that. I get assessed a monetary penalty. The boss gets mad at me. The government writes it down in their statistics that there's a whole bunch of bad drivers out here. So they make stronger and more stringent regulations against truck drivers, and yet the pay does not go up. It's not going up. They keep talking about the pay for truck drivers going up. It's not going up. I'm in the trucking industry. I drive a truck. I get paid to drive. My pay is not going up. It has not gone up in many, many years. So, if you're looking to be a truck driver, I strongly suggest you look for a whole nother career. If you want to try and make a bunch of money in a relatively short period of time, and then get out of it, yes, if you want to make $50,000 or $60,000 for 2 or 3 years, get into driving a truck, bust your butt, stay away from home for a couple of years, get out on the road, drive, work. Make your $50,000, $60,000, and in some cases $70,000 a year, get out there and then get the hell out. If you stay in it, you'll get trapped just like I am. I'm kind of stuck. It's too late for me. I'm retirement age. I could retire. It's too late for me to start over, to go back for some new training into some other career. Or I could go work at, a fast food chain for $8 or $10 an hour for, 20 hours a week as a part-time job, an elderly person, or go work at one of the big box stores or big chain stores as a greeter, or a shelf stocker for almost minimum wage. I would have to start a whole new career to get back to the level of income that I've worked up to. Now to get, with all the regulations and stuff, that value of that income is not the same as it used to be. If I make $50,000 a year and I end up paying, $1,000 or $2,000 in fines and penalties, or my pay gets cut by my employer because I've done something against company policy that they don't like, and then they penalize me by taking pay away, I'm kind of stuck. Drive truck, or, start all over. So I put up with it. That's what I tell people. It's kind of too late for me to change careers. I'm stuck. I hate to say that. The truck driving job is not so bad, but the career, absolutely horrible. Stay away from truck driving as a career. Don't do it. That being said, this is Truck Driver Mike out on the road, signing off one more time. See you next time.